Good morning, everybody. A very warm welcome to the Nürburgring in Germany for the latest instalment of the FIA Formula 3 European Championship. It's the third race of the weekend. It is a race in which the championship could be decided because the first two races of the weekend have been won. They dominated by Felix Rosenqvist, the Swedish driver, who now has a very healthy 65.5 point lead in the championship with just 4 races to go. This one, plus the 3 that we'll have in 3 weeks' time at Hockenheim for the season decider. So it's been a fabulous season of Formula 3 racing. We've had more than half the field of rookies making a name for themselves. We've had some returning drivers pushing hard, like Felix Rosenqvist, like the driver that can now really challenge him, or try to challenge him for the championship, Giovinazzi in second place, and Jake Dennis returning for a second season in the championship. And we've had lots of different winners, lots of different pole sitters, but it is the most experienced driver in the field, Felix Rosenqvist, who's now taken 26 European Formula 3 victories, that has his nose in front in the championship. Good morning from me, Chris Hartley, and here alongside me is good morning to Dave Richardson.
Chris, it's when you've done the maths as you have and you've done the calculations, Felix Rosenqvist, whether he seals it today or whether he doesn't seal it today, it's one heck of an achievement, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. With, as we said yesterday, quite a bit of pressure on him as really the favourite coming into this weekend. There he is then, Felix Rosenqvist for the Prema Power team. They wanted him in their car this year. He wanted to be in that car, and it's been an awesome combination. The most experienced driver on the grid. He starts on pole position for the third time this weekend. It's his 24th Formula 3 career pole position. And there is one of the young guns, Lance Stroll, just 16 years of age, in his first season of car racing last year with that team, Prema Power team. He won the Italian Formula 4 Championship. He also won the Toyota Racing Series over the winter and is a double Canadian karting champion. So the youngster from Montreal getting onto the podium again yesterday, having a really good end to the season and on the front row of the grid for the second time this weekend. And there is the driver second in the championship. Last weekend's Masters champion at Zandvoort, Antonio Giovinazzi, the Italian, for the Giugogna I Am with Carlin squad. The Carlin team who've run so many famous names over the years. Drivers on the current Formula 1 grid, Daniel Ricciardo, Jan Magnussen, the McLaren reserve driver, Daniel Kvyat, all drivers that have come through Carlin. And there is the driver that was with Carlin last year but has moved to Prema Power team, Jake Dennis, who I'm afraid mathematically can't win the championship now after a disappointing non-finish in race 1 yesterday, where there was some contact at turn number 1 and Jake, I'm afraid, came off worse than anybody. Damage to his car, effectively putting him out of the running. He did though come back to finish in the points yesterday and got himself just off the podium. So Jake, 4th in the championship in his second season. Mikkel Jensen's had a strong season at times and has been in the points in both races so far this weekend. Race 1 in particular was very good. He was in 5th place, so he's going to be lining up on the third row of the grid. And alongside him is Charles Leclerc. Congratulations to Charles, who yesterday with Van Amersfoort Racing sealed the rookie championship, Dave.
Yes, and as we made the point yesterday during our commentary, of course, his eye is very much on the championship itself, and whilst congratulating him in taking the rookie championship, that isn't really the title that he wanted, although of course he'll be pleased that he has achieved that. Of course, he had eyes on the bigger prize, if you like. Nick Cassidy is here and with us this weekend, running from P7 on the grid, and he's had a reasonable weekend, hasn't he, Nick Cassidy? Yeah, very good when you consider he's not been in the car very much this season. He was only out at Portimao. He had an outing last year. He was out at Macau at the end of the season, but with a very, very good team there, in the team which has won the Teams Championship and the Drivers' Championship for the last couple of years, spanning back a few years in F3 Euro Series racing, and won the title with Daniel Hagedea, who races DTM now. And he, although he's concentrating on Japanese racing, he is in Formula 3 in Japan, so has some idea of the cars and is currently joint championship leader with a round to go. As we see Marcus Palmer hoping for success in his home country here, one of the more experienced drivers on the grid, who's had a much better second half of the season than first. And there's another young rookie, Callum Ilott, who secured his maiden podium in his maiden season of car racing yesterday in the first race day with a very mature drive to third place, having got an excellent run in the first qualifying session. A bit further down the grid for this one, but he's certainly having one of his strongest weekends so far, Callum Ilott, whose only previous experience of this circuit until this season will have been playing it on his computer games console. No, he did tell you, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
That's what he does. A really, really likeable young man, isn't he?
It is,
Great
yeah.
future ahead of him.
Yeah, that's why, the European karting champion. That's why I like this circuit. I've always liked it and always gone well on my PlayStation, he said. Well, all those years of practice paid off with that podium yesterday. Another driver which has vastly improved in the last few rounds is Sergio Sette Camara. There you just saw the Brazilian, 10th on the grid for this one. And likewise, there's been a very strong upward curve for this young man. Nabil Jeffrey, the Malaysian driver for Motorpark, has been picking up some points recently. He had a good results at Zandvoort at the Masters race last weekend as well, with a 6th place finish. Had a good battle with Arjun Maini, the Indian driver, in that particular race. Santino Ferrucci has had a strong weekend as well, hasn't he, Dave? 2 7th place finishes and lots of good overtaking from the young American.
And it's almost guaranteed, as we see Peter Mucker then, of course, boss of the very team that Santino Ferrucci races in. And there, right at the very back of the pack, Chris, is new in this weekend. It's an entry from Russia, isn't it, in that particular car, although it's being driven by Harold Schegelmilk. It's the Artline Developments car.
That's right, yeah, making its debut in Formula 3 towards the back of the grid. But the young Latvian driver, he's got some Formula 3 experience. German Formula 3, finished in 3rd place in the championship there in his rookie season, and was a race winner in the F3 Euro Series as well. So he's hoping to develop the car.
Now that car is, we should explain, is not a Dallara, which of course all of these are, with the exception of that one.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's a different chassis, whereas they're all Dallaras, as you say, same chassis for everybody else, except they do have different engines. So mainly Mercedes and VW engines, not everybody, but they're the 2 dominant engine packages. So off onto the formation lap day set. The championship nearing its conclusion. The situation in terms of championship points then is this. Felix Rosenqvist has got 428 points. Second is Antonio Giovinazzi with 362.5 points. And third is Charles Leclerc with 346.5 points. As Felix Morales looks like he's going to have to start from the pit lane, I'm afraid, who's been switched across to the Muka Motorsport team now, with the satellite team Joe Zeller Racing at Zandvoort last weekend. But Felix Morales with some issue, having to start from the pit lane. So in terms of the points, Felix Rosenqvist is 65.5 points clear of Giovinazzi. There's only 100 points left up for grabs, and after this race there's only 75 points left up for grabs, 25 for a win in each of the 3 remaining races. So if at the end of this race Felix is more than 75 points clear of Giovinazzi, he's guaranteed the title. In fact, if he's even 75 points clear, he's guaranteed the title because he's got far more wins, and if it were to go into count back, he would have the advantage. So if Felix Rosenqvist wins the race, Dave, the only way that Giovinazzi can keep his slender title hopes alive is by finishing in 2nd place, as long as Felix wins the race. And if Felix wins the race, Charles Leclerc, who's still just about mathematically got a chance of the championship, even if he finished 2nd, Charles Leclerc, he would not be able to do it. So right. Felix has just got to carry on doing what he's been doing, having great starts and winning races.
Wouldn't bet against him, would you? I mean, starts on pole position, has looked supremely dominant. I mean, every single lap that he's driven of this 3.6 kilometre circuit that you can see in front of you now has been a masterclass, really, in how to do it and do it well. Yeah, he's been flawless, I'd say, this weekend. Fantastic performances from him. And he's now had, if you go back to the 2 races at Portugal, he's had 4 race wins on the bounce here. So more wins than anybody this season. That's 11 wins he's had now, 20 visits to the podium, and only 5 times has he not finished in the points this season. So Felix lines up on pole position for the race. But Antonio Giovinazzi is surely going to go for this, because really, to have any kind of hope of the championship, he does need to try and beat Felix in this race. Mathematically, if he finishes 2nd, he'll still be in it, but he'll be requiring Felix to have a disaster, not a disaster at the final round, and for him to go and win all the races, really. And he's a very good starter, is Giovinazzi. He's one of the best starters off the line. Felix is very good, but I'd say also in that sort of A class of really good starters is the Italian. And I think I would also add to Felix Rosenqvist's roster of success is his safety car restarts as well. He's an absolute master at those as well. Yeah, he'd figured out that before you and I, and before Lance Stroll, I think, that the safety car line was before the start-finish line. So he overtook on the 2nd safety car and got 2nd place yesterday with a great move
on Lance Stroll as the red lights come on and the third race of the weekend gets underway here at the Nürburgring. Good start for Felix Rosenqvist, a good but not great start for Giovinazzi, and Jake Dennis has also become a very good starter. He's challenging him for third place. Lance Stroll's got the inside and almost gets nerved there by the fast starting Mikkel Jensen, who does run into Giovinazzi, so the Dane comes together with the Italian. That's not the start that Giovinazzi needed. He's going to be down to 6th place. There's more contact for at the back. The Muka Motorsport car goes wide. It takes one of the Giovinazzi cars with it. Can't quite make out which one that was from up on high here. It might have been Menezes in the number 4 car. Got delayed by all of that, but that was not a good start from Giovinazzi. Well, he did all right off the line. It wasn't particularly mega, but he then got caught out by that Muka Motorsport car, and off goes the number 3 car of Giovinazzi, and it looks like he's got damage. Mikkel Jensen, who made the contact with the Italian and then ran out wide and almost took out his teammate as well. Well, he's out of the race, and we'll have to see a replay, but he just carried a lot more speed into turn 1 in that orange Muka Motorsport car than anybody else, didn't he?
Just exactly what he needed not to have, wasn't it? Another one that made good progress was Callum Eilert.
Yes, he has. He's had a couple of good starts this weekend, Callum Eilert, so pushing hard. So the race leader is Felix Rosenqvist. Lance Stroll in 2nd place made a good start as well, and Jake Dennis has got into 3rd place, looking for his first podium of the weekend. The tight squeeze then through the final turn at Coca-Cola Curve, and here they come. Charles Leclerc is running in 4th place. Is that Marcus Palmer in 5th place? Has made a great start. Yes, it is. Marcus Palmer up from 8th into 6th place. Pushing very hard here. So in fact, we've got Cassidy, have we, in 3rd place, coming through just ahead of Dennis, so that switched around as well, and he's made a very good start to the race, as I'm afraid the driver 2nd in the championship, he's not going to score any points here. Antonio Giovinazzi is limping back to the pits. Damage, I guess, to the front of the car.
It's all ebbing away from him, isn't it, sadly, following that start. So Giovinazzi then into the pit lane.
Now here's a replay. So it was, well, it started before that, didn't it? But there was a bit of bumping and boring. And then out wide went Jensen, whose steering was broken. It almost took out the other Giovinazzi car. But it was the late braking from Jensen on the way into the corner which triggered everything there into the run into turn 1. Might get another look at it here. It's just after it happens, isn't it? So there's a double bit of contact a bit further back as well. Arjun Maini getting close to Ryan Tveter in the yellow number 26 Giovinazzi car, and that was the second part of the incident when Jensen, I think his steering broke and just couldn't turn left, and the car veered off to the right, and front wing, rear wing's missing, bits of bodywork off. Marshall, Maini's been into the pits as well, so Maini's been into the pits for damage repairs and with the wing replaced, and Giovinazzi goes back out, but he's going to be way down the order now. So Rosenqvist, Stroll, Cassidy 3rd, Dennis 4th, Leclerc 5th, Palmer 6th with a good start. Eilert, as you said, off the line well again in 7th, and Ferrucci in 8th.
And that is the order as we have it at the moment, as they all run into turn 1 now.
This is the fastest part into the slowest part of the course, Dave, so it's where they really slam the brakes on, which means it's a good overtaking opportunity, but there's yellow flags at the moment.
You made the point yesterday that this track, this Nürburgring circuit, really is kind of split very much in two, isn't it, with the twisty sections in the first part of the lap, and then open up with sheer speed down towards the NGK chicane on the second half of the lap, if you like. That's
right. Fairly smooth, though, intermediate on the tyres, so duration of the tyres was pretty good in qualifying. We've seen some circuits where, with abrasive circuits or lots of high-speed corners, they've struggled to get more than a couple of laps in qualifying, as we see a few cars together. Alessio Lorandi, who was already serving a 10-place grid penalty for an engine change, plus another 5-place grid penalty for coming together with Nabil Jeffrey yesterday. So he's one of the 3 drivers. It looks like he might have been on the thick end of that. It's Nicky Pola going into him. And didn't know much about that, did he? And the other one that was just sort of involved in the fringes of that was number 32, Zai Kong Lee. So Nicky Pola, a bit ambitious there, and Lorandi taking the brunt of that, I'm afraid, without really knowing much about what was coming from behind.
News from the legal section from P16. Pietro Fittipaldi is going to get a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. So Pietro Fittipaldi, who's currently running, as I said, P16, is going to get a drive-through penalty, which he will have to serve within 3 laps of that being notified to him, as an awful lot of work to do now. Giovinazzi, who is ranking P30 following his visit into the pit lane.
Well, this is the order in which he'd like it to be. Well, Giovinazzi is just in front of Rosenqvist, but unfortunately He's nearly a lap behind him. So number 1 is your race leader, Rosenqvist. Number 3, Giovinazzi, if you've just tuned in. He's not leading the race. There was contact at the first corner. He's been into the pits for repairs, and he's almost a full lap down on the race leader.
And to throw more into it, we now have a safety car.
Okay. That's sort of good news for Giovinazzi, because he'll be able to catch that lap back up now. At least he wasn't lapped, but you know, he's going to be 30 odds down the field, and even Giovinazzi's going to struggle to score points from there. And to get up to second place, it's going to take a bit of a miracle, isn't it?
Yeah, it is rather.
As long as Rosenqvist carries on doing what he's been doing, of course.
Yeah. And there's nothing to suggest he won't, is there?
Arjun was another one that was in the wars early on, and he's avoided being lapped as well. He got out just in front of Giovinazzi, but has been picked up by the safety car. Presumably the safety car will wave them through once he's gathered everybody together. Yes, he's doing that now.
Arjun and Giovinazzi will presumably be beckoned through the same.
So Felix Rosenqvist leads the race. Lance Stroll, his Prema Power teammate, second, and it's a 1-2-3 for Prema. It's a 1-2-3-4 for Prema, because Cassidy and Dennis are also Prema drivers. For Fritz Van Amersfoort's team, who've been competing for 40 years now, since 1975, and had a strong pedigree, multiple champions in German F3 before coming into this. They are there in 5th place with the new rookie champion Charles Leclerc, and Motorpart, the German team, with the German driver Markus Pommer, are 6th, as we survey the damage to another Van Amersfoort car there, the bright blue and green Larandi car, which wound up in this incident here from a long way back, too far back. Niki Pola misjudging the braking there, or you know, maybe there was an issue with the brakes, but either way, he tried to overtake 2 into one corner from a long way back, and it was never, I'm afraid, going to happen. Larandi, the innocent bystander there, really. So he's out. Been a really frustrating weekend for the former karting star. Callum Eilert is in 7th place. He's made up a couple of positions in this race, although one, of course, gifted to him by Giovinazzi having his troubles. Ferrucci is 8th. Sergio Sette Camara is 9th. George Russell is 10th and in the points again. Nabil Jeffrey is in 11th place. Nabil has been on the fringes of the points this weekend, so let's see if he can get up into the top 10. Trona's back driver. And then Michele Beretta having one of his better runs in 12th place in the number 6 Muka Motorsport car.
And if I may say, P13, car number 9, Tatiana Calderon.
Yeah, who, again, yesterday at one point was close to the points, wasn't she? Still pointless this year, having, as we've said a few times now, had a very strong second half to last year's campaign, where she was, in every round, she's picked up points. Got up into the top 6, and she had a 5th place finish at Spa last year. There, the replay of the start then with Jensen carrying a little bit too much speed on the way into turn number 1. I mean, that coming together with Giovinazzi, who had done nothing wrong really. He just hadn't made the best start, not one of his mega starts as normal, and it sort of brought everybody upon him. Yes, I was expecting Jet Dennis to get through there. I think he was slightly delayed in all of that, which is why Cassidy was able to get through. Jake's on the outside there, and then this was Arjun Maini losing his front wing on the back of Ryan Tveta in the number 26 car. And George Russell was bang behind there, wasn't he?
Yes.
Actually done well to be where he is. I can see in the background the orange Muka car of the Italian driver Michele Beretta squeezing past everybody up the inside. He's come from, where is it, 22nd on the grid, I think it is, to be where he is now. Yeah, 22nd on the grid up to 12th place. Whoop, there we go, boys. You've definitely got him off, but you've lost your footing.
Yes.
Thanks, driver. So Sorales is gone, rather less graciously than they would have liked, but I think they'll be okay. Other than their egos might be slightly bruised.
Well, safety car coming in this lap, so now we saw a couple of examples of this yesterday, didn't we, when Felix Rosenqvist just really backed them all up, did a fantastic job.
Indeed so. So with Giovinazzi out of the running, doesn't even necessarily need to go and win the race now, Rosenqvist. Just needs to finish, what is it, 9.5 points ahead of Giovinazzi, who's not going to pick up any points. So as long as he finishes in the top 5, it's going to be okay for that. 10 points for 5th place. So that would do it, assuming Charles Leclerc doesn't finish ahead of him and win the race. So restart. It's another good one from Felix Rosenqvist, but he's not miles ahead like he has been in the past. Callum Ilott looks like he's got company here, though, as they strive down towards, with Ferrucci having a go around the outside of him to try and gain a position. Let's see if that comes off as they arrive at the corner. No, late on the brakes as they come out of the shadows is the Red Bull livery of Callum Ilott, so he'll hang on to 7th place. Ferrucci still weaving around, dancing around in the background, trying to get through, and Nick Cassidy there going a bit wide over the curves and getting out of shape, but he controlled the slide beautifully as George Russell goes on the attack now. The blue number 10 Carling car trying to get ahead of Sergio Sete Camara, the Brazilian in the motor park car, the white machine.
Now Ferrucci is really on this, isn't he? And he's right alongside Callum Ilott now as they are side by side going through that turn, and Santino Ferrucci has made it stick.
Good move that on the way to the hairpin, so very good stuff from Ferrucci. He's pulled off some good moves this weekend, and he's looking to secure 3 points scoring finishes, which I don't think he's achieved all season. He's had better results than he's had here, but I don't think he's had the consistency that he's had at the Nürburgring. So Santino, just outside the top 10 in the championship before the start of the weekend, looking to secure another points finish. And that puts him up to 7th, with 777, because he was 7th in the first 2 races as well. But he might not be done yet, Santino. No. So good move. Callum Ilott gave him the room as well. It was good professional driving that, rather than turning in on him. So Rosenqvist gets out nearly a second, Dave, on that restart lap from Lance Stroll. Nick Cassidy, despite the slight moment, out through the Mercedes arena in 3rd. Jake Dennis 4th. 5th Leclerc. 6th Palmer. 7th now Ferrucci. 8th Ilott. 9th Sete Camara. 10th Russell. Nabil Jeffrey still just outside, as we've got a glimpse there of Giovinazzi trying to come through. And, oh dear, Tatiana Calderon has been pointed in the wrong direction now. Whether that was self-inflicted or helped along the way, we'll find out now. I think she might have been helped along the way. So Rahalman sees a gap, goes for the inside. Tatiana comes across, the pair come together. Her rear wheels touch his front wheels, and because she's on the outside line, momentum carries her off.
Well, talking of wrong direction as we watched Tatiana Calderon being turned around there, it goes from bad to worse for Kong Lee, who's got a drive-through penalty for driving in the opposite direction.
Okay, right, a new one. Zai Kong Lee, number 32. And is that Matt Rao, 14? I think it
is.
And bits of number 36 missing as well, which is Sam McLeod. He had a good weekend to finish 4th at Zandvoort in the Masters 7 days ago. But he's now missing a real wing by the looks of things.
And to what we said yesterday,
safety car
breeds safety car.
Yeah.
So it is deployed once again, as we see. There's Matt Rao.
What can he do, he says.
Exclamation with his hands there.
So it's all kicking off, isn't it? First of all, the Calderon coming together. She spun around but got going again, but that's scuppered her chances. She's back to 17th now. Is that coming together with Raoul Hyman? He's also dropped back.
There's a lot of damage to the McLeod car, isn't it?
Yeah, rear wing off. So there's Raoul Hyman. Oh, Matt Rao, unlucky.
Yeah.
So McLeod has already pointed in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And Matt Rao, unsighted, just smashed into the back wing of the car. Heavy hit that.
See the debris flying up, can't you, in that angle of the replay.
And rear wheels off as well. Nothing at all Matt Rao or Sam McLeod could do about that. Sam was stranded. Matt couldn't see what was ahead of him. Can't drive around the corner slowly in case there's an accident, can you? So no, couldn't see that, and it would have been too early, I think, for flags, because it just happened. When's my luck going to change, he says.
Yeah.
Now, somebody who keeps charging through the order but still hasn't been able to pick up any points is a driver that's normally up at the front end of the field. He's Alex Albon, and he's had a very disaster in qualifying, really. Signature, Boccolacci's teammate, had a bad qualifying as well. Been charging through the field, but hasn't been able to charge through quite enough to get into the points. But he's doing well again. He's 13th, and he's going to be on the tail of Michele Beretta. And then his next target will be Nabil Jeffrey to get himself under the fringes of the top 10. And those two drivers you'd expect him, on current form, to, be able to take on.
So safety car deployed once again. And Felix Rosenqvist is going to have to bunch them up all over again. Now there is George Russell, who is just into the points, isn't he, running in P10, and just saw a glimpse of Giovinazzi, who's woefully down P22.
22, yeah. Safety cars help in that they bunch everybody out and give them a chance of attacking.
It's still going to be a huge ask, isn't it?
And you're losing time behind the safety car. You're losing laps and less time to make your way through. So, no small task this, Giovinazzi. You've got to go from 22nd to 2nd in 20 minutes. Okay? See if you can do that.
Right.
There's Matt Rowe. Well, it's been a difficult season for him. Sam McLeod's car is being wheeled away. Sam's still in the car, the Scotsman. And then we've got Nicky Pola's car. And there is Nicky to the right of the picture. That was from a separate incident. So the marshal's busy down at that part of the course.
Yeah, it's sad to see a collection of Formula 3 cars there, isn't it?
There's a replay of Felix Rosenqvist. The only replays we've seen of Felix have never been of him in trouble, just of how nicely he's been driving.
I made this point yesterday that you know, various parts of the circuit, and in particular this NGK chicane, to watch them in super slow-mo through that chicane, just how much curb they take in and out, really, really surprises me. But they really have got it absolutely nailed. And well, safety car coming in this lap, and something else that Felix Rosenqvist has got absolutely nailed is the ability to back everyone up and then get a flyer. Absolutely, yeah. And just generating some heat into the tyres now. 1, 2, 3, 4 Prema cars all together there, filling the first 4 spaces. Championship leader now aware that he's about to restart this race. Charles Leclerc just behind, who is 3rd in the championship. Great rookie season for him. As weighing it now and getting right onto the throttle is Felix Rosenqvist. Going with him, making a good fist of this, though, is Lance Stroll, who's going to protect his 2nd place here from Nick Cassidy. Charles Leclerc looks pretty close to the tail of Jake Dennis for 4th. And he might just be close enough to pick up a toe by the end of the straight. Green flags wave, we're back underway. So race resumes then after 2 safety car interventions. And down into this pinch point of turn 1, which turns back on itself we come. Into Halkaken. Lorandi's back out there, isn't he? Car fixed. He's in 18th place. I think there was too much damage actually after he got spun around by Nicky Pola. So he'll go on the attack, no doubt about that. Money's back up there, and then there's Giovinazzi. Giovinazzi around the outside. He's just going to throw caution to the wind now. Nothing to lose, really, has he? Not. No, around the outside of the Indian driver, Javier Raganathan, and gaining a couple of positions, 2 places around the outside there. Fantastic stuff from Giovinazzi. Round Arjun Maini as well. I think he went first of all. There's George Russell, number 10, who's now ahead of Sergio Sette Camara, so he's up to 9th place. There is Sette Camara. Just behind him is Nabil Jeffrey looking to get into the points. 2 places behind. Watch for the black signature car of Alex Albon, who's having a fantastic rookie season as well. So next in the target sights for George Russell is going to be Callum Eilert. As we look at our race leader, Felix Rosenqvist, then 7/10 over Lance Stroll, P2, then it's Nick Cassidy and Jake Dennis rounding out that top 4 all Prema cars. They rise towards the chicane. Alex Albon was menacing right on the tail of Beretta in the orange Muka car. So here he comes. He's got Ryan Tveta just behind him as well. They're coming towards you now, so you can hardly see Albon. He's so close to the rear wing. He pulls out of the slipstream, slingshots past, and he's going to get the place surely here. Down the inside he goes. His teammate tries a similar move on Ryan Tveta, but from further back there's contact into the gravel. Goes Boccolacci, and Tveta is spun around. 2nd time he's been hit in the race. Boccolacci saw his teammate going for it, thought I'll try a bit of this and I'll have a go. But Albon had started his move much earlier than Boccolacci had started his. More a slipstreaming out-braking manoeuvre from Albon, and it was more a pure out-braking manoeuvre from Boccolacci. Tough weekend for Boccolacci, who had some good results earlier on in the season. The French driver out, and hopefully he's far enough off the circuit that we're not going to see another safety car. Well, he makes his way to safety. Let's see it again, and he was just trying to mirror the move from his teammate, wasn't he? Yeah, but Albon had already got alongside into the braking zone, and you know, Ryan Tveta was about to turn in, and I don't believe it. Safety car is out again,
is
I'm afraid, yes.
Oh dear, turn 1. You can understand why it happens, because people see this as an opportunity to get through. Everybody's bunched together. Right, I'm going to have a lunge down into turn number 1, else I'm going to get stuck behind for the rest of the race. And when drivers have had bad qualifying sessions and maybe lower down the order than their pace would normally dictate, then they're going to try and go for it. If you're not in the top 10, you're not going to score any points. So you can understand why it happens. It's just frustrating when it does. Felix Rosenqvist has led many races this year, has had many safety car restarts. He's well versed in all of this. It's just difficult for a driver in that you can't really ever get into your rhythm, can you? It's all stop-start, really. If you're not involved in these incidents, you're at the front of the field, you're a Felix Rosenqvist or a Lance Stroll, just trying to get into your rhythm. You can't. You do a lap or half a lap, and it's a safety car again. Slow down. Ryan Tvetter's been summoned to the pits to try and repair the car. Carlin, the American's car, to try and get that sorted out. Change of wheel as well, I think, by the looks of things. It goes out. Background in Star Mazda and Formula Renault Racing. On the podium of the Toyota Racing Series as well. Not yet won a race, I don't think, in his single-seater career. Tvetter goes back out. Will feel a bit unlucky and a bit unfortunate today. People going into him a couple of times.
Boccolacci car we saw being lifted over the barriers, and it's a short safety car.
Yeah, it's coming in, isn't it?
Period this time, as well, for the third time of asking now. Felix Rosenqvist has to back them all up, doesn't he? And we'll go for this safety car restart once again. What have we got? 14 minutes left on the clock. We're about half distance in terms of laps, aren't we?
Yep. So, incident being investigated by the stewards between Boccolacci and Tvetter. And they'll look at that after the race as Felix Rosenqvist, deja vu this, restarts the race, accelerates out of the final turn at Coca-Cola curve, and then thunders down towards Haughart in the first corner. Not worried about this lot. It's what happens behind that might be worth keeping an eye on. Here we go. They're all going to start weaving around, trying to dart down the inside of one another. And it's going to be George Russell that tries a move here. Now he's back behind Seti Kamara.
Yeah, he loses out, doesn't he?
Yeah, so Seti Kamara gets there first. Must have got a really good run coming out through Coca-Cola curve. They're wheel to wheel again. Just behind them is Nabil Jeffrey in the dark blue Carling car. George Russell goes back to the inside. I think he's gone through, hasn't he? I think he's got the place back up to ninth position. He really is a gutsy, determined driver, George Russell. You wouldn't know it to speak to him, would you?
No,
quiet,
no, absolutely.
down-to-earth chap. See, he gets that helmet on. He's a proper racer. There is Antonio Giovinazzi trying to get through the field. He's up to 18th.
Now, in fairness, the safety cars are really helping him, aren't they?
They are. They're helping him bunch up, but then, of course, you know, he's losing laps behind safety car where he can't overtake. He would have been totally out of it, though, wouldn't he? Because he was almost a lap down. He's in the pack now, and he can have a bit of fun. His next target is Tetiana Calderon.
Yes.
He already dispatched of Sorales, so that now puts him 17th. Might get some points out of this at this rate. Not that he'd be too bothered about that. It's not what he wanted. Been a big improvement from his performances last year, though. He was very strong in the second half of the 2014 campaign. They changed his chassis, and it all got a lot better after that. Oh, somebody's had a moment there, just in front. Lorandi, is it?
Yeah. No. Yes.
Yep. I see Lorandi and Tatiana Calderon. They've both been in the wars twice now. Oh dear. And guess what? They beached in the gravel. Safety car driver, you put your cup of tea back down again. You might be back in action in a second, I think. Calderon's stranded as well. Oh dear. Coming out of the final turn, that. Well, if they keep crashing, Giovinazzi might finish second at this race. Stay in the championship fight. Look in the background here. You can't really see the cause of that because you can't really apportion blame from that angle. All that you can guarantee is that one driver will blame the other and the other one will blame the other one. Oh dear. So they're out now, and their frustration continues. Really frustrating season for Tatiana Calderon, the Colombian. And
confirmation of our expectation that all-white BMW that's done more laps than almost anybody here today is back out again.
The Braver Power team are getting a bit frustrated by this. Well, not frustrated, more just antagonised. Well, come on, let's win this race and win this championship. And blimey, another restart. You know, for most of the drivers out there, Dave, the restarts are an opportunity to overtake. For Felix Rosenqvist, they're a potential problem, aren't they?
Yes.
Oh dear.
Now, just as we resumed after the last safety car, I thought, and he wasn't able to make anything of it in the end, but I thought Charles Leclerc was really, really pushing Jake Dennis very hard.
Yeah. He was. Didn't get through, but you're right. He looked close enough to challenge, didn't he, as they came over the start-finish line?
Certainly the closest of the first bunch, if you like, in my opinion, at being able to have a go. So can we see this a bit better now?
Calderon was behind and Lorandi was spun around. And then I think with broken front suspension off went Tatiana straight on. But yeah, it was Tatiana from behind into Lorandi. And that flag has been used quite a bit today in the race. It was all quite calm in race 1, wasn't it, at the start of the weekend? It's got more and more frantic as we've gone on, perhaps understandably and perhaps predictably. So Calderon, he's definitely got potential. She showed some really good, strong performances last year, but moved to Carlin this year, and you'd expect her to have stepped on it. It just hasn't happened. And what's not helping is that this championship seems to get stronger and stronger in terms of the competition every single year, which makes Felix Rosenqvist's achievement even more impressive. Actually, I know he's got all the experience, but there's an argument to say that he's up against a much stronger field than he was a few years ago when he was finishing second and third in the championship. He's certainly done everything that's been asked of him, hasn't he? Stayed positive, even when he's had a few glitches in the championship year. Here he is again. You could draw a line with a pencil on the line he takes through the chicane. It's the same spots every time, doesn't he? It's going to be another lap behind the safety car. She's just going over the start-finish line. Incident between Lorandi and Calderon is being reported to the stewards. And we've only got 8 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock, so we're not going to get all the laps in today.
No, we're not. And the recovery operation, as you can see, for the Lorandi car is continuing, but a bit of gravel out on the surface as well, which they'll want to sweep up. So it's not going to be I think it's probably going to be more than one more lap with a safety car, isn't it, yeah, before this is sorted, unfortunately. And as you quite rightly say, the clock continues to tick down.
There's Alessio Lorandi walking back disconsolate. He's had a really tough weekend, actually, which started with the engine change, 10-place grid penalty. Randy Rossard and the team at Prema on the radio to their drivers. You can guarantee there will have been a conversation between the team and Lance Stroll and Nick Cassidy and Jake Dennis, and in terms of, don't do anything silly. Felix is leading the race. He's on for the championship. Jake can't challenge him for the championship anymore. They're good mates anyway, those two. Lots of healthy respect between them. But certainly for Stroll and Cassidy, don't do anything stupid to our man in the lead of the race here.
No.
The team founded back in the early 1980s. Premier Power team, fantastic success. The team at the moment, aren't they, in this championship?
Very much so, and we were saying yesterday, and just went into the whys and wherefores of how important it is for the teams as well to be successful, because of course they want to attract drivers into the next season of FIA Formula 3 European Championship. At the moment, Prema Power team certainly in that period of great strength, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. Carlin are up there as well. Giovanni Van Amersfoort obviously up there.
I think we were saying yesterday how, in conversation with Fritz Van Amersfoort, the Verstappen effect that he had made a real difference to the inquiry line phone-in, didn't it?
Yeah, you're a great team. Let's come and race with you. And yeah, absolutely. That's why teams are always keen to do good deals with drivers they believe will do a good job in their cars, because it's not just a case of filling the seats. That's financially, you need to fill the seats to keep the team running. But if you possibly can, you want to get the best drivers in there so you get the best results. It's like a football manager tries to pick the best players within the limitations of what they can. The difference is it's the driver paying to be in the team rather than the team paying for the driver. Safety car aboard. You're going to get sore arms in a moment holding that up. And yeah, I think hopefully by the end of this lap, there might be one more actually. But another effect has been the fact that you never used to get drivers coming out of kart racing, and kart racing is hugely competitive these days on national, European and world level. You'd never get somebody going from a kart straight into Formula 3. You'd always go into a lower single-seater Formula first, a Formula 4 or a Masters. Jack Dennis's first step into cars was in the Intercept Championship, lower-powered car, learning the circuits, learning car racing. But with Max doing so well last year, being in third place in the championship, straight out of karts, you've got Callum Ilot's come straight from karts, Alessio Lorandi's come straight from karts into this championship. It's a big step up, isn't it? A massive step up.
It is, but that dynamic is changing, isn't it?
Yeah.
And, you know, when you look at Max from last year, Callum for this year, and, you know, it proves it can be done.
And I think what we'll start to get now in the next couple of years is, now that the Formula 4 tier has become established, drivers coming from Formula 4, which, you know, you have a lot of interest and knowledge of the German Formula 4 Championship. Lots of drivers coming through there. You've got Mick Schumacher Jr. racing in that championship at the moment, who not necessarily the front runner in the championship, but has drawn lots of media attention. So that seems to be where...
And that's been good for the championship. Another one that we really, really must mention is son of Adrian Newey, Harrison Newey, who has done
a good job, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. Yes, he has. And you know, it's really been hugely successful. And you're right, we can't underplay the fact that the attention that's been focused on it has been brought about by that surname Schumacher, of course, and we understand that. But to see some of the drivers in there, and I know you and I, at the ages we are, which clearly we won't reveal on the air, you know, when you're seeing drivers like the young Russian I often talk about in Formula 4, Robert Schwarzman, who looks as though he is 6 or 7. He is absolutely tiny, but so talented, absolutely extraordinary. These young stars of the future, that's what they are, no question.
It's Fritz Van Amersfoort team that run Mick Schumacher, isn't it?
Yes.
So again, a star name that's been attracted to that team, and you know, he's won.
And of course, Prema Power team involved in that as well. So you know, the teams are very Moto Park and.
Yeah, as I say, in the national Formula 4 championships as well, Lance Stroll in Italian Formula 4 last year, winning the title, which was some achievement actually, not knowing the circuit's first season in cars with Prema.
Whilst the safety car lights are still on, and we're continuing our conversation here, you know, off air yesterday we were saying just how strong this FIA Formula 3 European Championship has been over the last few seasons. I think it's fair to say that Gerhard Berger was really the architect of it, wasn't he?
Yeah, the national, like the British and the German championships have demised.
Yeah, there's been casualties, and that's sad. But
they were struggling for numbers, and you know, expense was certainly an issue. And this has thrived now. This is the championship to come to, isn't it? And it's a proper world-class field of drivers. My only concern here with the safety car, Dave, is that it goes away before the end of the race, because it would be not quite right if Felix Rosenqvist were to win the race in the championship behind the safety car.
I agree, and we are with but 3 minutes left to run as Peter Mucker there from one of those teams that we're talking about, Mucker Motorsport, of course, very hugely experienced and respected team. And now this does really concern me as we get sub 3 minutes, and
what were they, 2 minutes, 1 minute 54 behind the safety car. So, theory, they will have just about time to get one lap in.
One lap,
if it goes in at the end of this. Oh, safety car in this lap. Thank you. They've been listening. Right, good. Yeah, it's always an anticlimax when a race is won behind a safety car, isn't it? So at least give him a lap. Although I suppose he wouldn't want too much. He's definitely going to win if it stays behind the safety car. There's always a slight worry on the restarts, isn't there? Felix is almost there now. Prema Power team almost there. And from being a very close season, at one point mid-season, he wasn't quite there, was he, in the points? And he thought, well, again, it's not going to be his year. He's down to 3rd in the championship. At one point, I think he was 4th. In fact, I think he was early on in the championship. He had a really bad weekend at Pau. He didn't get any free laps in qualifying. He was well down the grid. It's hard to pass there. And he thought, but then he fought back brilliantly. I mean, he couldn't have had more contrasting weekends at Pau, the 3rd event of the season. He struggled to get any points. The next one at Monza, he won all the races, every single one.
And hopefully people have taken that on board in terms of his character, how he's been able to pick himself up and has, then delivered and over-delivered, because, he's very rounded in terms of the experience he has, the skill he has, and what he can offer, because it's going to be very interesting to see where Felix Rosenqvist goes from here. Yeah,
hopefully he'll be picked up by somebody. He's clearly got the talent, and somebody who definitely has got some talent behind him, Lance Stroll. He's on for his best result now with a 2nd place finish, but this would be 4 visits to the podium in the last 5 races for Lance Stroll. Just about a minute to go then for Felix Rosenqvist to hang on, finish a lap and win the championship title as the race gets back underway here at the Nürburgring. And it's another great restart for Felix Rosenqvist. He's got not 1, not 2, but 3 wingmen behind him. So it's an ideal situation, this, for Felix Rosenqvist. And in the background, as George Russell and Sergio Camara going hammer and tongs again. Those two have been very entertaining in this race. George Russell has had some good battles. He's halfway alongside Seti Camara here. The blue number 10 car tries to go around the outside. Seti Camara, good driving that. They gave each other enough room. It was tough, but it was fair, wasn't it, Dave?
Yeah, it's been absolutely brilliant watching those two, but we're watching the man that's leading the race, Felix Rosenqvist, who once again showed us just how to nail a safety car restart. In fairness to him, Stroll, Cassidy, Dennis all behind are all teammates for that team, Prema Power Team, who have just the remainder of this lap before they can welcome this man across the line to take the checkered flag and potentially the championship too.
Here we go then. It's going to seem like a long lap this, isn't it, for Felix Rosenqvist, but he's in his zone. As he said yesterday in the press conference, the helmet's on, I'm just going about my business, doing my job. And he has been utterly flawless once again, even with these interruptions with the safety car. He's never, ever looked under threat. He has won everything in Formula 3. He's won Macau. He has won the Masters. He has won the Po Grand Prix. And now, finally, as he comes out of the final part of the race and takes the checkered flag, finally he has won the championship. The 2015 European FIA F3 champion is Felix Rosenqvist. Prema Power Team celebrate. Lance Stroll with his best performance yet in second place. Nick Cassidy third. Fourth place for Jake Dennis. Perfect result that for Prema Power Team and for a deserving champion, Felix Rosenqvist, who has now, Dave, taken 12 wins this season.
Absolutely extraordinary result. Felix Rosenqvist, thank goodness he did get the opportunity to take the checkered flag and to win both the race and the championship in that way. It would have been a travesty, really, for that race to finish behind the safety car, and we thought it might, but as the celebrations continue long and hard on the pit wall for the Prema Power Team, there is the winner of race 33 and the winner of the 2015 FIA Formula 3 European Championship, Felix Rosenqvist, at last.
Fantastic. Yeah, that was a great effort. Giovinazzi, by the way, got up to 13th place. I mean, that's some effort, isn't it, from where he was? But yeah, bad luck for Giovinazzi. But I tell you what, he's been a strong campaigner as well, and there's definitely a future ahead for Giovinazzi. We've already seen him out in DTM at Moscow, haven't we? So there might be a future for him there. He was asked that question, and there was a wry smile on his face. He didn't give an answer, but he said, I'd quite like to be in DTM one day. But this is a man we hope has got a future because he's a thoroughly deserving champion. He's a stalwart of the championship. That's his 27th European Formula 3 win. And the Swede takes the victory here. I don't think he would have been necessarily expecting to win the championship this weekend before he arrived in Germany. But it really couldn't have gone better. He's done everything he can. He's won all three races. He's got all three pole positions and has been absolutely mega all weekend. And others have just had that little bit of bad luck, haven't they, at times? Giovinazzi yesterday was sent out wide at the first corner incident. Jake Dennis got tangled up in that. And then another incident today for Giovinazzi, which is not necessarily all of his own doing. So it's just gone that way for him. Rosenqvist wins the title. Second place for Lance Stroll, who's winner of the
top shot,
yeah.
job's done.
Yeah, we're off home now. And that's the 9th win this season, and they've all come in recent times in terms of rookie performances for Lance Stroll.
Yeah.
Say Charles Leclerc has already wrapped up the title, but Lance moved up into the top 3 earlier on in the weekend. So he's had a great run and a great performance again from Nick Cassidy, showing what a star he could be, the New Zealander, double Toyota Series champion. Jake Dennis has had a mixed weekend, but good strong 4th place finish there, speaking to Marcus Simmons from Autosport yesterday, saying that because of his height, we already mentioned that he's got a bit of backache this weekend.
Yeah.
He's 6'2", he's the tallest driver from squeezing into the car. He's actually well over the minimum weight limit, even though he's like a beanpole.
I was just going to say so.
Yeah, I wish I had his figure. But
he's now eating nothing, is he?
Yeah, he's on a very strict diet, and he's still 3 kilograms over the minimum weight limit. So he's saying I have to get a 10th of a second before I can even be matching everybody else's pace, just to carry that extra weight. Here he is, though. Felix Rosenqvist jumps for joy. The 2015 champion. Just to go down the rest of the results: Leclerc, Palmer, Ferrucci, Eilert, Seti Camara and Russell with the rest of the top 10. And there's Jake Dennis.
Oh, that's great to see, isn't it?
They're really good pals, these two. They've got on great this season. You can say how much taller Jake is than Felix, can't you? Doesn't have that problem with the height.
What you saying about beanpole, you're about right. Yeah. There's no weight there to be lost,
No, it's unbelievable that he's over the minimum weight limit. There's nothing to him, is there, Jake? But yeah, it's great to see him cheering on his mate. And look at this, so too are all of his Prema teammates. Lance Stroll with the Ferrari Driver Academy there, with his helmet off already. That's Nick Cassidy. Brilliant job, and a great atmosphere in that team. Truly international team, isn't it? There's an Italian squad with a Swedish driver, a Canadian driver, a New Zealander, and a Brit. Fabulous stuff. Oh, it's been a long time coming, this, hasn't it, Felix? A long time coming. We didn't even know if he'd be back in Formula 3 this year. And when he announced that he would be with Prema, Dave, then all eyes were upon him. But as we said, just because you got the experience doesn't mean you're going to win it.
No.
Some tough competition out there.
That was a great jump, wasn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. Didn't want not to injure himself, actually. Not that he cares now.
No, absolutely. His season's done now, isn't it, as far as he's concerned. He's got it wrapped up with 3 races still to come. Brilliant, brilliant result.
Fabulous, yeah. And we watched him pretty closely all weekend, and we don't have the telemetry and the data, but I honestly haven't seen him make a single error.
No.
And he's done that several times this year, hasn't he? Monza, I mean, he picked up 3 wins there. In the background there, Jake Dennis. Look at him, delighted. And he's improved on last season. Has 6 wins this year for Jake Dennis. So, yeah, it's been a really good year for the Racing Steps Foundation driver. Felix, great job. They'd already made the poster, look.
Now, whoever is responsible for doing that must really
brave.
hate having to do that, because you do need some bravery, don't you?
Yeah, Felix, great job. Already with the #1 on his car, of course, because that was the champion team last year with Esteban Ocon. So he's already had the #1 on his car, but it's his #1 now. Waiting for him to take his helmet off so we can see just how broad that grin is on Felix's face. The beers are already open, Dave. What was it? 10:26 in the morning. Fair enough, though. They've had a hard year, haven't they? Nice glasses.
Some there to rival our colleague from Autosport, who has bright yellow
there he is.
Sunglasses, and there is the smile that you've been waiting to see.
So I guess there's half of them that's like, I can't believe it, I've finally done it. And then half of them that's like, well, I can believe it because, I've been dominating the season, really. Of late, anyway. But, you still got to get the job done, haven't you? And there's always 1,001 other things that can stop you, not necessarily yourself. Confirmation of the results, then. Most entertaining battle there was at the back end of the top 10, wasn't it? Seti Kamara got the better of George Russell in the end. It was a great ding-dong.
It was a good battle.
Poor old Alex Albon has given 100% this weekend and still hasn't got a point. 11th place this time. He got ahead of Nabil Jeffrey, but he didn't quite get into the top 10. And quite a few non-finishers, as you can see there, from the various incidents and safety car restart incidents. Mikkel Jensen was the first one out after the coming together, which sealed the fate, really, of Giovinazzi and put him into the pits and a lap down. Drivers' Championship then, Felix Rosenqvist with an unassailable lead now. He's only 75 points up for grabs with 3 races to go. And he has wrapped up the championship. Giovinazzi and Leclerc and Dennis still will have a fight for 2nd place in the championship, though. Lance Stroll is up to 5th place in the standings from another rookie George Russell and another rookie Alex Albon. Max Gunther not here this weekend. Marcus Pommer and Mikkel Jensen 9th and 10th in the championship.
Well, the podium is going to be a very, very happy place indeed, particularly for this man, Felix Rosenqvist, then. And just to pick up on a point that you made, having watched him all weekend, and there have been challenges thrown at him in terms of safety cars and other things going on, he has absolutely not put one wheel up.